Hey guys, it's Callus back with more Pokemon Perfect content. This is the other semifinal of our Pokemon Perfect ADV Open Numero Dos for 2021. The winner of this will face the already decided winner of Undisputed and Siglet. That was actually a pretty good series. There were some really good plays in that one. So if you haven't watched that yet, I highly recommend that you go back and do that. That is, of course, here on my YouTube channel. You can go check that out. I'm not going to spoil who the winner of that was between Undisputed and Siglet, but the winner of that is going to face the winner of this in the championship. And the winner here, of course, as with all who reach the finals of one of our opens, will qualify for our championship tour in Pokemon Perfect at the end of the year, which is where you want to be. It was a fun competitive tour last year. Linear, of course, won because, Linear, and made that cash money. It was pretty sweet. All right, so we've got Mikmer, who's making a return semifinals appearance. He made the semifinals of the last tour as well. He's really on a great run recently and has really come into his own as an ADV player. He's really starting to get known and established. And then on the other end, Monthly Girls. That is an alt. That is Felix, who also made the semifinals last time around. So these are obviously two consistent, strong players, and probably the more they play on Pokemon Perfect, the more familiar with each other they will become. So it's a best of 3. We're going to do it all in one video, regardless of if it's 2 games or 3 games, and try to avoid spoilers. Let's get into the set now. Mikmer is on the bottom, and Monthly Girls, Felix, on the top. Scarm and Titar, both of them content, Spikes and Fire Blast, respectively. Seems like a very standard turn 1. Protect and Roar, respectively, keeping in mind that Fire Blast would kill the Scarm should it eat it. Here comes Swampert, that gets roared out, and new information discovered. Felix is going to find out there is a Zapdos for Mikmer. Not for long, though, because of BP. There is Crunch, so usually Crunch plus Roar means that we're looking, and we saw Fire Blast as well, so you would think that the last move is Pursuit. That to me means it is probably a 4 team from Felix on the top. Here comes my Milotic, that gets protected against, and it's going to go for a cover on the protect turn. So net gain for both of them, but a better turn slightly for Felix. There's the Surf, keeping the pressure on, not letting Scarm come in for free. It's low, want to keep it low, so take that 28% on the way in. Going to Surf again here. This time he's going to land a critical hit on Zapdos, which is 74%. That's also good. However, it's going to prompt a switch. Here comes Celebi. Thunderbolt is the play here for 16%. BP, to Scarm, and there's Leech Seed, so that's going to be obnoxious. And if Scarm tries to heal now with Protect and Lefties, obviously, while seeded, that's not going to work. It is a 4 team, as I suspected, for Felix. That's going to come into the Spike. There are 2 layers down, but the Scarm very low. Obvious Gengar comes in, and Felix is too good to fall for that. He's simply going to spike up instead of Rapid Spin into thin air. He's going to get Will-O-Wisp, and there's Spike Lair number 2. So 2 layers for both players as the 4 suffers from its burn. T-Tar comes in. We know that he's Crunch Pursuit. Coming in on Taunt is pretty ideal. I'm surprised Mikmer's allowing this, but with a lead Scarm and with a Gar like this, it is all but guaranteed that he has a Dougie in the back. Or not. He goes to T-Tar here, but I would strongly suspect there's a Dougie. Focus Punch and Crunch. Critical hit Crunch at that as insult to injury, but nice little call there for Felix not falling for that. And he's going to break it up again. He's going to go for Crunch, again stopping Focus Punch. What would be really cool is if there were also Brick Break on the same set with the Focus Punch and could just nail him here. But Mikmer demonstrating that he has the heart to go for it again, not intimidated by being called out by his opponent twice. He goes for the Focus Punch the 3rd time, and it does connect that time with the Milotic for 43%. Zapdos sneaks in on the obvious recover. What can it do? It can be apparently outsped by a Milotic and killed by a Surf, a crit Surf. I don't know what the deal was there. I don't know if Zapdos was going to attempt to roar, I guess. I think that's what he was doing. And there is no Dougie. It is Last Poke Jolteons. This is actually an M-Dragon team, a well-known M-Dragon Spike Stacks team that he had, I believe, Blightbringer, if I recall correctly, used. Not this most recent SPL. It's still ongoing, but the SPL before that, if my memory serves me correctly. So we'll see how it all plays out. Here's Rachi for Felix coming in now. Jolteon, another poke that doesn't like to be seated. Here comes Skarm, comes in on the recover. Going to be an opportunity to get a little bit of health back between the lefties and maybe protect for more lefties. It's an unfortunate missed Leech Seed there for Felix. That would have been good to land, but good turn for Mikmer. He's not only going to avoid the Leech Seed, but he's also going to get the burnt Fori out. But that all turns around in an instant as the rapid spin comes down. Mikmer not able to block that with the Gengar, and severe punishment losing those spikes. But the good thing about this sequence is that the Skarm continues to heal up, heal up, heal up, and the Fori continues to burn, burn, burn. So that wasn't as bad as it may have seemed for Mikmer. He actually gained quite a bit of small gains there, with the Fori losing a bunch of health and the Skarm gaining a bunch of health. However, after reestablishing the 3 layers of spikes, which is important, the Skarm has to die to the Fire Blast there pending a miss. There wasn't a miss, and down that goes. There's an Earthquake hitting the Fori, so that's going to die as well, and that's going to leave us in a 5-4 situation, both players with 3 layers of spikes that cannot be removed beneath their feet. There is the Surf and the Knockout on the T-Tar. That leaves us in a position favorable for Felix at a 5-3. Make that a 4-3 as Thunderbolt takes out Jolteon, or by Jolteon takes out my Milotic, rather. We now have a speed tie between Jolteon and Aerodactyl, presumably. Very relevant speed tie if it was in fact just a coin flip, but the Aerodactyl gets the better end of it in double edges. That's going to leave us now in a 4-2 situation. Rachi and Swampert, Wish, Earthquake, sure, 49%. Can live another Earthquake if he goes for Protect here, which he has. And that's going to get him back in range, so he could attempt to Protect and Wish stall out the Swampert, which is not that wild to do if he can manage to avoid a critical hit. He also has to worry about something like a freeze from Ice Beam, and that's probably it. Maybe Torrent Range, Hydro Pump, certainly with a crit could be a threat, but primarily here he needs to avoid Earthquake critical hits or Ice Beam freezes in order to be okay, and so far he's doing a pretty good job. There's only 16 PP to begin with on Earthquake, and several of these Earthquakes are happening into Protects. And there is a freeze, however. Now, there's a Wish pending, but nevertheless, a freeze does come down, so going to be an opportunity here for Mikmer. Rachi is back at a hundo, but it's frozen, so if he gets enough Earthquakes off, which is looking like 3 of them is what he's going to need, enough Earthquakes off in succession, he can get him here. Rachi down to 17%, goes for the Protect, which is why it went first. Or I guess, I mean, he probably just went, he was faster anyway, but it was probably a Protect there. But it doesn't come, and the Rachi's going to die, and this game gets a little bit closer, 3-2 now. Protect and Hidden Power, respectively. Probably just HP Grass, yep. Super effective, 90%. Ice Beam looking for a second freeze, kind of needs a miracle here. Doesn't find it. I don't know why Gengar switches in here. What's the point of that? Doesn't that just throw the game? Now we're just done. Now there's no chance. I mean, if you let the Swampert go, maybe the Gengar can just critical hit its way out or avoid a bad Rock Slide. Not that Felix should go for Rock Slide, should just get him with Hidden Power. But you just have to think of all the obscure situations. Like maybe it's HP Fighting Arrow that can't actually touch the Gengar with anything other than Rock Slide. Maybe you dodge the Rock Slide and you kill it that way. It probably didn't matter. This was almost certainly going to be Felix's game either way. But for the record, for what it's worth, I still think minor misplays for Mikmer at the end. I think he should have let the Swampert go and try to win with the guard, but still a lot of things would have to happen exactly perfectly for him in order to get there. So Felix wins game 1. I was going to say relatively cleanly, but there were a couple crits with the Milo, and I mean, there was a freeze on the Rachi. It was kind of hacksy back and forth, but I don't feel like one player blatantly got the better end of the hacks over the other, which is why I was initially going to say it was relatively clean. Up to you how you want to view that game. But either way, Felix takes game 1. So, like I said, it's a best of 3, and we're going to do it all in one video, so let's just go right ahead to game 2 now. Mikmer's still on the bottom, and Felix still on the top. They both have different leads this time. We've got Zapdos and T-Tar, or no, I'm sorry, Felix had a T-Tar last time also, but it is a different T-Tar. Last time it was a special Tar on the Fori team, of course. Now we're looking at a physical tire. He went Rock Slide. He's not banded, obviously, as he switches it up here to Focus Punch. That's going to connect with Celebi, takes it just fine, and Skarm takes the opportunity to come in. BP, he does not have a Magneton, but he does have the Zapdos, which should still scare out the Skarm. No, he's going to stay in with Skarm and just let it get Thunderbolted. I don't know about all that. That seems a little loose for Felix, but, well, there you go. He's going to be Skarmless now. Maybe that was a very good roll, or maybe it's a very offensive Zapdos. I think a lot of the time Skarm is supposed to survive that, even if it takes a ton of damage, but that is not what happened here. Skarm goes down, and Mikmer off to a great start in this game, too, which he's going to need since he did lose game 1, as you just saw, but Mikmer clearly ahead in the early stages of this game, too. There is a Whiffed Protect for Felix, which the Zapdos sneaks in on. Good play there from Mikmer, putting some pressure. Here's the Gar, and a great substitute as well. Has the balls to do that. He would have just gotten shredded by an Ice Beam here, but he's going to get rewarded for this play, and he's going to get yet another kill, taking out the Gengar of Felix. This game going much, much, much better for Mikmer, as he's got himself a nice lead early on at 6-4. There's an Ice Beam from Starmie, which not only would have killed the Zapdos, but also has the opportunity to randomly freeze whatever other recipient. So that is the right move there. You might as well fish for some BS if you're Felix. Try to catch yourself back up. There's a Hydro Pump for 46%. There's an Earthquake back, looking very likely to be an off-star, almost certainly an off-star for Felix. Protect, Hydro Pump, because you gotta. Last one did 57%. He's going to be at 53% now. So Hydro Pump, pending a miss, should get him here. But, man, that is sick variance on the damage roll. Man, the first one did... Oh, I'm sorry. I was rating too high. But, yeah, that was 46%. I was going to say, how could the other one do 56? I must have misspoke or misread. 46 and 45, respectively, is what they did. I had myself really confused there for a sec. But Mikmer is crushing this game at this time. 6-3 right now. This better be like a DD tower or something, or a tower that's really good at dodging Leech Seeds or what have you. Swampert, Hidden Power. I mean, it's not DD because it is Focus Punch, so it's just going to be 4 attack tower. Now, granted, this might be a little bit annoying to deal with because the Swampert is so banged up, but I still think Mikmer is so far ahead that he should be able to manage. And here's a Dugtrio. Earthquake does a lot, but does not kill. Earthquake back does kill. So a little bit of catch-up here for Felix. He does manage to take out 2 pokes with the T-Tar here, leaving us in a 3-4 situation with Mikmer still in the lead. There's a Bliss in the back, which is unsurprising for Felix, but with the Dugtrio gone, maybe the Bliss is going to be obnoxious. We'll see. It is a physical tower for Mikmer. This really doesn't look too unlike the other team that he had. They're not identical by any means, but Mikmer does seem to like these mid-rangey, aggressive, slanted, balanced teams. Seems to be his general philosophy. Ice Beam got a freeze on the Celebi. It does not get a freeze on the Starmie for Mikmer. Protect. And Hydro Pump. Could this also be an off-star? We've only seen Hydro Pump. Here's Bliss, which it looks like a poke that off-star is not fond of. Hydro Pump misses insult to injury, but realistically the Starmie was never breaking the Blissey. And there's Ice Beam from Felix. He had an opportunity there with a crit or a freeze to really catch himself back up, but he does not find it. He does get a rest off. We've seen only Baton Pass and Recover, so we don't actually know if Celebi has a Grass attack here, but Felix is going to scout for it just in case, and he goes to his own Bliss. He simply finds himself against the T-Tar instead, brings in Swampert because he has to. There's a critical hit from Mikmer, not what Felix needs right now. Here's Zapdos, and Felix not able to predict that either. He had an opportunity to kill the Zapdos here. It has eluded him over and over again, but he was not able to pull the trigger on Ice Beam there and get the Zapdos down, or hell, even Surfer Hydro Pump if he has those, but he went for Earthquake. Hidden Power there into the Blissey, not a huge deal. I doubt Mikmer lets it die here, but we'll see. He does not. There's the BP. There's T-Tar. Ice Beam, 21%. Lefties confirmed on Mikmer's T-Tar. Earthquake, 41%. Thunder Wave. We know he doesn't have Lum since he can't have both Lum and Lefties, so he's going to have to deal with that paralysis, unless it's a Heal Bell Celebi, I guess, for the remainder of the battle. 26% Earthquake, Zapdos again sneaking in, and man, Felix, what are you doing, bro? Not able to predict it once again, wasting 2 PP again via pressure into the Zapdos when he is not able to pull the trigger and kill it. Soft Boiled coming down, and Earthquake coming down. Mikmer looks like he probably still has this game, but Felix has mounted a reasonable comeback in this late game. Mikmer does still feel ahead, but man, the Blissey actually just looks like a real big issue. Only the T-Tar can maybe punch through it, and that's tricky with it already being paralyzed. I think the Blissey is really going to be a bitch for Mikmer. I think Mikmer's plan was heavily reliant on the Dugtrio's ability, probably a beat-up Dugtrio, to remove Blissey, but because it didn't play out that way, I don't know. The Bliss might be really difficult. And finally, there we go, like 8th time or whatever the fuck that is the charm for Felix. He pulls the trigger on the Ice Beam and gets the Zapdos down. And what was once a very one-sided, heavily Mikmer-favored game has taken a turn, has shifted here to a 3-3 and a fairly equal game. If anything, Felix actually might have the advantage here because the Blissey shuts off the Celebi and the Starmie completely. The T-Tar is going to have to win this game through paralysis for Mikmer. And stranger things have happened. I mean, every time he sneaks it in, particularly against the Blissey, he's got an opportunity to make a prediction. But man, like right now, for example, Mikmer could double back to T-Tower with the obvious Blissey coming in. That is what he does. That's the right play. So Mikmer sets this up once again. Here's Swampert, opportunity to chip it. He's been pretty good about earthquaking that every time it comes in. But he doesn't pull the trigger on another Earthquake, which turns out to be wise because Starmie comes in. And this, unfortunately, for Mikmer is going to allow Felix to get quite a bit of lefties back and negate much of that Earthquake for the Swampert, who now finds himself at a 3rd, but nevertheless getting out of the way. Mikmer not able to predict the Blissey was going to come in that turn and get his own T-Tar in. He goes Hydro Pump twice and gets himself Seismic Tossed down to 32%. Cannot live another Seismic Toss by any means. Here comes T-Tar and Swampert respectively. Now it's Felix with the double switch, out-predicting Mikmer. Earthquake and Earthquake respectively, but Mikmer would have needed a crit there to knock out Swampert, and all of a sudden it looks like Felix is in a really good position. There's Earthquake. He once again can just go for Protect here and get lefties, but he instead opts to go to Tyranitar. Calm Mind makes it interesting because remember, he can pass that. So maybe there's a theoretical route in which this Celebi can pass enough Calm Minds to the Starmie to where it could beat Blissey, but I think that ship has sailed. I think the Starmie is so low, and yeah, that's going to be nowhere close. Hidden Power Fire, even at +1, is a pathetic 12% against T-Tar. Celebi swatted like a bug by a couple of HP bugs. And now we are down to a 2v2 battle after the Starmie gets the revenge on T-Tar. Leaves us with Blissey and Swampert against the Starmie and the T-Tar. Has to come in on Seismic Toss. Must find a critical hit here. And does not. And I think that actually might be game. I think Felix might have made the comeback here. T-Tar did manage to avoid being paralyzed a bazillion times. But yeah, the only way to win now if you're Mikmer is to kill the Swampert here and then freeze the Blissey respectively. And not only freeze the Blissey, but you have to freeze her immediately and she has to never thaw. Stranger things have happened, but it's going to require a lot of RNG. There is the Ice Beam and the freeze does not come. Seismic Toss tosses Starmie out of here. And with that, the victory goes to Felix. He gets the 2-0 series win over Mikmer. Both of these players on quite the tear recently, but it's going to be Felix not only with the win, not only advancing to the finals, but he is now going to be qualified for our end of the year Pokemon Perfect ADV Championship Tour. Looking forward to seeing him participating in that. Like I said, don't want to give spoilers. Do go back and check out Undisputed against Siglet. It was a good set. It's worth watching. The winner of that is now going to face Felix in the finals, and that is also a set that not only am I looking forward to, but you know you're going to see it here on YouTube. Thank you for watching. It's been quite the day of recording. Hopefully it's been entertaining content for you guys. I'm going to go do stuff in real life and spend some time with my wife. Thanks for watching. See you next time.